Armed with this knowledge, light can help you to adjust to the lifestyle you want.
So if you're a late type who wakes up much too late and never early enough to go to work, you should wear sunglasses from lunchtime on and try to get as little light as possible in the evenings. For the early people who wake up too early, they can do exactly the opposite. They can run around with sunglasses in the entire morning and try and get as much light as possible in the second half of the day.
Now that the sun has set, your body clock should be telling you to schedule some sleep in your diary. But for one group in society, that's easier said than done.
I've just been a bad sleeper for a number of years. I don't know why.
Well, I actually wake up about usually between 4 a.m. and 5.
I wake up in the dark, so I don't know what the time is, but usually about 5 o'clock.
Almost a third of all people over the age of 65 have problems sleeping.
The sleep of an older person, it's fragmented. They sleep and then they wake up and they sleep. Usually in the early morning, they wake up earlier than they want. If you ask people, they're not too glad with waking up at 5 or 6 in the morning. They prefer to stay asleep for another hour or so.
Scientists believe that these sleep problems are connected to an aging body clock.
We don't know why the clock is not working as well in aging, but we have a clue from biology on what's going on and what's underlying these changes. And that is that although the number of brain cells in that clock is unchanged, you don't lose the cells, you see that much less cells are active.
The problems for an aging body clock are further compounded by the deteriorating state of elderly people's eyes.
The density of your lens, the thickness of your lens increases. It lets less and less light in. So the less light that we get coming through the eyes means that we have less of a signal going to the body clock. And so the clock isn't as synchronized to the daylight as it used to be when we were young.
Jus van Summeren has studied these desynchronized clocks in a group of elderly people with some of the most disturbed sleep patterns, those suffering from Alzheimer's or dementia.
During the night they have these short bouts of sleep, not too long, I think seldom longer than 15 minutes. So it's very fragmented sleep. You see that the more fragmented this sleep-wake pattern is, the more depressive symptoms, the more agitation, irritability. It's having a big impact on their lives.
For Van Summeren, the key to improving this fragmented sleep lay in restoring the natural rhythms of the body clock.
In the biological clock, cells are still there but not active. We know that light is normally activating these cells. And we thought maybe we can reactivate these cells by giving additional light.
Van Summeren changed the light fittings in nursing homes so that the Alzheimer's patients were receiving up to 3 times more light during the daytime hours. He then followed their sleep patterns, mood, cognitive performance, and daily activities for over 3 years. The results exceeded all expectations.
We expected changes in sleep-wake rhythm, but somewhat to our surprise, the effects on other symptoms were huge as well. For example, depressive symptoms were much less. Cognitive performance, so memory performance, was much better. But also doing activities of daily life, like eating your lunch or buttoning your shirt, things like that, declined much less in the people who got additional bright light.
It's an impressive list of improvements and matches what can be achieved with the drugs that are currently available to Alzheimer's patients.
The improvement you get with drugs are comparable to the improvement you get with light. But with the drugs, you have adverse effects like nausea. On the contrary, with light, you also get the improvement of mood. So you might compare the effect of light with giving 2 drugs, one for cognition and memory, and the other one for mood.
It's an important step forward in the management of Alzheimer's disease. But can other elderly people benefit from light too? Ongoing studies in the UK are testing the impact of light on healthy elderly people in their own homes.
We're quite encouraged by the results. This might really be a way of improving sleep in elderly, in their own homes, without sleep medication.
As the relationship between light and our internal rhythms is better understood, so the possibilities open up of improving all of our lives by simply harnessing the natural power of the body clock. It's well past bedtime, but for some people, sleep is the last thing on their mind.
Is there a best time of day for having sex?
I'm not going there.
I've no idea.
Don't wait until midnight, because by then you will be exhausted.
Studies have shown that the most common time for sex is between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. But this is largely because this time is convenient for both work and family life.
Given the fact that we're having sex at a time of day which seems to fit in with our busy work schedules and our socialising, would there be a better, as it were, biological time? And the answer is we don't know. But there are some ways we might go forward. So, for example, testosterone levels in the male peak in the morning. Paradoxically, the evidence suggests that a woman is more likely to orgasm if she has sex in the evening rather than the morning. So there's a mismatch there.
You might want to consider the afternoon. Performance is best in the afternoon with your body temperature at maximum.
And another area would be that skin sensitivity peaks in the late evening.
It depends on what you have eaten, if you had alcohol or non-alcohol. I mean, some people may be more liberated and have better sex when they had alcohol. Other people may be too tired after alcohol to have... So where do we go from here? Find out yourself.
It's the dead of night, and our body clocks are reaching the lowest point in their 24-hour cycle.
So as we proceed into the night, core body temperature is dropping, blood pressure is dropping, blood viscosity, blood thickness is going up, and we're generally being prepared metabolically for the resting state. And we would reach a low point in terms of metabolic activity around about 4 a.m.
But even though our biology is telling us to go to bed, over 4 million of us are up and working. Studies from all over the world have shown that this mismatch of lifestyle and biology can put our bodies under enormous strain.
Modern life tends to ignore the body clock, and we assume we can do whatever we want, whenever we want, and that's simply not the case.
The problem is that our bodies rarely fully adjust to shift work patterns, leaving them perpetually out of sync.
We're finding that the incidence of cancer is higher in night shift work, mental health, cardiovascular disease, and a whole slew of other pathologies. And I think this is a good example of where physiology is being pushed outside its normal range at that particular time of day.
But whether we are up on the night shift or not, this low point in our body clock cycle can make us particularly vulnerable.
In old people or in sick people, it's at that, literally in the small hours, you know, the quiet hours between 2 and 4 o'clock in the morning, when the body's turned down to its minimum operation, that's when people tend to slip off this mortal coil.
But it's not all bad news.
Harder. Good. Come on, push harder.
Push down.
Come on.
You can do it. Come on.
This time of night is also the most popular for one of our body's most miraculous events.
And again. There we
More babies are born naturally between 3 and 5 in the morning than at any other time of day.
At that time of night, our bodies are extremely relaxed. Body temperature is low, sensation for pain is lower, and that is a good time to give birth.
But even from the very first breath we take,
Okay, sweetie.
our natural rhythms are being influenced by the modern world. As more women give birth in hospitals and experience greater intervention to natural birth, these early morning baby rhythms have become less pronounced. As our 24 hours comes to an end, your body clock comes full cycle. The diary for your perfect day is complete. Body clock science has shown you how to do what your body wants at every hour of the day. It's now up to you whether you choose to follow your clockwork.
I think disregarding our body clock is foolish at every level. It's a beautifully orchestrated clock within our brain that's activating a whole slew of different systems.
The body clock really is a fantastic piece of biological machinery. Because it controls what we do and how well we do it, knowing how it works, we can really turn to our own advantage. If you work against them, then you're pushing a string uphill. You're really not going to get as far as you otherwise would do. So go with the flow, as it were. Work with the clock.